What is going on, everybody? I am back with the Seahawks recap. I'm going to be honest, I actually made this video before. I deleted it. I went back and watched it, and I'm like, I was kind of negative. Like, I didn't like how I came across. I didn't give enough praise to Geno for that final drive, which was absolutely amazing with no running game. I didn't give the receivers nearly enough praise for their outstanding effort today, and just the team in general. I kind of, 7 hours of commercial-free football. A little tired. Seahawks Rams wasn't commercial free. But, I just didn't give enough credit to the team that did get a hard-earned victory over the Rams today, 27-23, proved to 7-5. Seahawks do currently hold the 7 seed. Washington 7-5-1. I guess 7-5 is slight percentage points over 7-5-1. So Seattle would be headed to Minnesota if the playoffs began today. And that's what it's all about, getting in the dance. Denver loses again to drop to 3-9, so Seattle's draft pick is now sitting at number 3, plus having their own. Not only do you have number 3, you also have number 35. So you've got like 3, 19, and 35. 3 picks in the top 40 right now for the Seahawks. So sitting amazing. A gutty win for the Seahawks. Like, it was not pretty. If you look at my Twitter, there was times I was screaming. I was upset. I even used the word embarrassed a couple times. I will say sometimes on Twitter and what we say during the game, there used to be this saying, it was back in the day of like lookout landing, was game threat emotion, and you kind of got off the hook for what you said during a game. I think that's a lot of Hawks fans. I think if you went back and looked at what they said, they would sound negative, but I think everybody takes a step back and you say, it's a nice win. It's a win. It's a win on the road. The Seahawks now only have to play one more road game the rest of the year in Kansas City. That's going to be tough. And they get 4 games at home now. So definite chance to make their mark. And the division's still in reach. And, very unfortunate, but the Niners did lose Jimmy Garoppolo for the season to a broken foot. So while, that does maybe benefit Seattle a little bit there. Trey Lance is already out, so they've got Brock Purdy who's going to have to play. And he looked good today, but it'll be interesting to see what happens when film is out on him and teams have a week and a half to prepare for Brock Purdy. It might change things. Certainly wishing Jimmy Garoppolo the best in his recovery. Never ever root for injuries. Speaking of injuries, Seattle lost about 13 running backs today. I think I went in there, got a couple carries, and got knocked out myself. No, just kidding. It would take one carry to knock me out in an NFL game. But obviously, Travis Homer was out before the game. I think it was a knee injury and the illness. There was a bug going around Seattle's locker room. I want to mention that real quick. Don't rule that out as a reason why this game might have been a little closer. There was a bug going around Seattle's locker room all week, and that certainly could have had some effect on the guys. Maybe weren't 100%. But Homer was out. Kenneth Walker hurt his, I think, ankle, and Pete Carroll said he didn't really have any updates. They're already without Rashad Penny. And then DJ Dallas got hurt as well. A gutsy effort from DJ Dallas, who was listed as doubtful during the game. And when you hear doubtful, we know, like, probable is not even a thing. Where it used to be probable, questionable, doubtful. Probable isn't even a thing. Questionable is usually like 50-50. Doubtful is like out. If anybody's doubtful, they don't play. Rarely does a doubtful player ever play. And he came back in and played despite being doubtful to return. So a gutty performance for DJ Dallas. And he had some big runs, 10 carries, 37 yards. He certainly helped. He wasn't amazing, but who knows how bad of an injury he was playing on, and he gutted it out. So a nice effort from him in this game. Can't say enough about Geno again. 28 of 39 for 366. Like I already did a video, so that's how I know all these numbers. 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. I'm not sure how much of a pick that was. I will say probably shouldn't have thrown that ball. That would have been a loss of 2 or 3 anyways. But Bobby Wagner rips it out of Tony Jones's hand. Weird to say Bobby Wagner and him not being on the Seahawks. Felt really weird. But Bobby Wagner came to play today, certainly. He was fantastic. 2 sacks, an interception, 8-9 tackles. So certainly Bobby Wagner played to get a little revenge on his team today. And he had a great game. So I miss Bobby Wagner for sure. He is ultimate professional. Can't believe there wasn't a spot for him on this team somewhere, but I get what the team is doing as well. So it is what it is. I understand the move. It just, as a fan, it's tough to see that because I love Bobby. And I can't wait for him to be in the Ring of Honor here in Seattle, or not here in Seattle, not in Seattle, but in Seattle. Let's say, Geno leads the game-winning drive. I think that's was that his first I don't know if it's his first game-winning drive, not of his career, I can't imagine, but with the Seahawks, certainly. It's been a struggle for the Seahawks sometimes in those situations. They just haven't scored late. Had a chance last week, couldn't do it. Chance against Atlanta early in the year, couldn't do it. Chance against New Orleans, couldn't do it. But they get it done here. Down by 3 points, a just meticulous drive by the team. Great games from Lockett. Great game from Metcalf. Noah Fant. Marquise Goodwin was playing through injury as well. He made a great play. And just, for DK, I think DK got that last touchdown on Jalen Ramsey. Not going to lie, that feels good. I don't know, without going back and looking at the game, I'm not sure how Ramsey played, but Lockett was like 8 for 129. DK was like 7 for 8 for 127. So 255 yards, 2 touchdowns. Somebody had to have done something on Jalen Ramsey at some point. Defensively, look, one thing I talked about in my first video that I do want to talk about here is that overall was the defense great? By no means were they great. The Rams were able to stay within their game plan the entire game for the most part. They didn't have to get off script. If you notice, the Rams rarely ran any just straight drop back passes. In fact, I don't know if they did any before that last possession. They ran a lot of jet sweeps, just straight up runs, and then they did these kind of fake jet sweeps and handed to the receiver to go inside. And it worked. They were pretty effective. Two of them, really, you take away the first drive for the Rams and the last drive, and Seattle's defense performance actually was pretty good. If you go look at the box score, nothing the Rams did really jumped out. Wolford wasn't very good. I think he was 16 of 28 for like 170 with 2 picks. Cam Akers was 17 carries, 60 yards. Some of the receivers had some big plays and runs, but their offense really wasn't amazing. Now, there wasn't a lot of 3 and outs or anything, but they also benefited from some short fields. Seattle had the interception by Bobby Wagner, and then Geno had a fumble on a play where he had Will Dissly wide open. It's unfortunate. I wonder if they had like Kenneth Walker in those scenarios, had they been able to run the ball a little better. You probably don't have those turnovers. You're not back against it as much. But I think that helped the Rams a little bit too. And listen, when you're playing any team, the goal, why blowouts happen in the league, rarely are blowouts just 7-0, 14-0, 21, 24, 28, 35, 45 to nothing. Now, do they happen? Of course. But it's about getting teams off their script. You've got to get that 2-score lead. You've got to get up 7-0, 7-3, 10-3, 10-6, 17-6, 17-9, 20-9. You start forcing these teams to play out of their script. Look at the last drive for the Rams. It was a mess. Now, there's only 35 seconds to go with 2 timeouts and to go 75 yards. That was going to be tough for any team. But John Wolford had to be a drop back passer, and it wasn't good. They didn't even move the football. A sack, the offensive line couldn't hold up. A penalty, trying to get off the ball a little early, being behind, and then an interception on a terribly underthrown ball. Almost had 2, well, you can't have 2 picks on a drive, but the third down, I think, was almost intercepted. So when they were forced to just actually play a non-Sean McVay offense style, they were kind of a mess, and Seattle's pass rush was able to get home. Unfortunately, for Seattle, the offense and defense were never really able to get kind of on the same page to get that 2-score lead. Even late in the game, when they're up 17-16, they had a drive where they ended up making the field goal to up 20-16. The Seahawks did. That was a drive. You get up 24-16 there. I don't know if the Rams go down and get that touchdown. You're pinning your ear back a little bit in that situation and playing. The Rams are going to have to be a little bit less gimmicky because they can't. Now, you need a touchdown either way. I get that. But like down 4, you're just kind of still in the game there. Whereas down 8, you kind of maybe get a little panicky because you may need 2 scores if you can't get that 2-point conversion. Chenna Nwosu, 2 sacks. He's got 9 on the year. 2 picks. Cody Barton sealed it late. And Tariq Woolen, 6th pick of the year, just continues his run for Defensive Rookie of the Year. A fantastic game from him. He was beat on that 122-yard catch to Van Jefferson. I think that was it. That was literally like the only play where they got him. Listen, was this a great performance from the defense? No. In fact, I would say they weren't very good. A better team probably puts up better numbers. But the locker room was dealing with that illness. They lost Ryan Neal, I think. I know Tease Tabor was in there for a little bit. And they lost Josh Jones. So Tabor, a corner, had to play safety. I don't know how long that happened for. I just know on the one play where they tried to go to, I think, Higbee in the end zone, or was it Van Jefferson? I don't remember. And Tabor made the play on that. I thought they might get a penalty on. They didn't really turn his head around. No penalty was called. Saw Trey Brown working there a little bit with Michael Jackson. I'd still like to see more Trey Brown. He had a defensive pass interference penalty, which was the right call. He got there early, but it was still a good play, if that makes sense. It wasn't one where it's like you didn't need to do that. I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Like, I didn't think it was like a terrible play by Brown. It was just, he did get there a little early. Sometimes they let that go. On this one, they didn't. Hopefully the Kenneth Walker injury is not too bad. Hopefully DJ Dallas, even though he was doubtful and did come back in, hopefully it means he's good to go. Hopefully get Homer back next week. Shout out to Tony Jones. Listen, this is a guy that was probably 5th on the depth chart for this team. And you know what? He wasn't great, but he drew a penalty on an unnecessary roughness, got 15 yards. He had a couple first down runs. He had a couple runs on 2nd, 3rd, and short. I hear my son yelling there. He's not yelling for me, but if you hear that in the background, that's my youngest. On 2nd, 3rd down, that he picked up first downs. And he had a couple nice runs. Like 7 carries, 14 yards, ain't going to the Hall of Fame. We're not putting that in there. And he was kind of responsible for that Wagner interception a little bit. Although I'll say Geno shouldn't have thrown that. I don't know if that actually was an interception. I thought he was down. But you know what? For a guy that probably wasn't expected to even take a snap, he did what he had to do. Just as I gave DJ Dallas credit for a gutsy performance today, even though his numbers don't look amazing, I'm going to say the same thing for Tony Jones. He picked up some first downs when they needed them to, and he wasn't a disaster. And honestly, I know it sounds like, well, that's low praise, but sometimes that is. Sometimes like, dude, just don't be terrible. And he wasn't. He was okay. He was completely serviceable and did enough to help them get the win. Again, talk about that last drive by Geno with no running game to be able to do that. And the way they played the clock, too, just so much different than years past where the clock always seemed to be an issue for this team. Not to take away from some of what Russell Wilson's done here, obviously, but a lot more in sync today. They did have some delay game, false starts. They were a little sloppy. But the Seahawks were not great today by any means. But they're 7-5. They are in a playoff spot if the playoffs began today. There's a lot of teams who would trade places with the Seahawks. Go talk to Rams fans, Cardinal fans, Bears fans, Commanders fans right now, Patriots fans, Steelers fans, whoever, Raiders fans. Go talk to those people. They'd all trade places with Seattle. And now you've got the team that has 4 out of its final 5 at home. You got a very winnable game against Carolina next week at home. They're coming off a bye, and they have played better of late. Honestly, I think roster-wise right now, the Panthers are actually better than the Rams, but it's still a game Seattle's going to be favored in. You're then going to play the Niners with Brock Purdy at quarterback. That's still a dangerous team. Again, but I'm just giving you guys what's ahead. At the Chiefs, that's going to be tough. At the Chiefs. And then you've got the Jets at home, who are a good team. That's not easy by any means, but a winnable game. And then the Rams at home. So a chance for maybe this team to hold serve at home. Maybe. I don't know. And you've got the Giants have a really tough schedule down the stretch. They're technically a half game ahead of you. And Washington's right there. They'll play each other again. Washington's off, and they literally play the Giants again. Don't know if I've ever seen that. And I think the Giants play the Eagles next week, so that's going to be a tough one, for the Giants. So definitely a chance for the Seahawks to solidify themselves. And the division's not out of reach now. Again, prayers up for Jimmy Garoppolo. Not at all, happy about that injury. I'm never happy about injuries, but now you've got Brock Purdy in there. So we'll see. Maybe the division is not out of reach yet. And maybe Purdy's going to be fine. He looked okay today. So certainly not, putting anything in there, but maybe that division is a little bit more open now. My wife's pad is calling itself or something. I don't know. But all sorts of fun things when you watch my videos. But the Seahawks do get a win. Listen, it is not easy to win in the league. I know it's a cliche. I know it's a stupid coach's talking point, but it's true. Wins are not easy to get. That's why players are. That's why you don't see the players going, "Oh man, we should beat the Rams by more." No, you've got to earn it. You don't think the Rams were giving it all they had? That was their season. They were fighting. They wanted to beat the Seahawks. Did I think Seattle was going to win by more? Yeah. Was it disappointing in some aspects? Of course. But they do come out of this with a win, a much needed win. There's an old saying in golf that there's no pictures on scorecards. I don't know if you guys play golf, you've heard that. Especially when you get a couple birdies, pars, usually on the pars that did not look very good, but you made a 20-footer to save it after shanking it all over the place. And same thing I'd said with the Mariners at the end of the year. There's no pictures here. You just got to win. Same thing for the Seahawks. Just find ways. And they're doing it. Is the defense great? No. But they've got some pass rushers. They can get home. And they're also going to have a great chance in the draft to really improve this defense. You've got a ball hawk in the secondary and Tariq Woolen. And even Kobe Bryant, while, he's a guy that can force fumbles. Quandre Diggs, too. So you've got some guys that can make plays. The linebackers are okay. Jordan Brooks has been good at it. Cody Barton's a guy I just don't know about. I think he's looked good at times and bad at others. There's potential for the defense to be okay, and the offense is good. You've got Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. Hopefully Kenneth Walker's okay. I thought the line was a little rough today. That's another thing. Actually, the offensive line didn't look great today. The Rams did get some pressure. Listen, other thing is, too, Shane Waldron is from Sean McVay's tree. I think he knew some of those naked bootlegs that Seattle runs with the tight ends. They weren't there. Geno did a nice job hanging in there and finding that the tight ends usually come across kind of the first layer. And the second layer, you've got some of the receivers coming across. Like Geno jersey's already losing threads here. This is what happens when you get it for $25. But, and those, Geno did a nice job finding those, guys behind, the receivers behind. That's a very technical breakdown there. So the Seahawks win. Enjoy it. Wins are not easy. This team hasn't won since November 6th, since December 4th. We get to celebrate a win. Enjoy it. Seriously. Seahawks fans, at the end of the day, it was a fun game. It was stressful at times, but it wouldn't be Seahawks football without stressful wins now, would it? So the Hawks pull it out. They win at 27-23, 7-5. Panthers at home next week for the Seahawks as we make a push for the playoffs and still make a push for the NFC West here. So we'll see what happens. It's been a wild ride, and the draft pick improves today. So a very nice day for the Seahawks. Please like, comment, subscribe. I keep saying it, but most of my comments or likes and whatnot are from, and views, the word I'm looking for, are from non-subscribers. If you're a Seahawks fan, stop on by, chat me up, whatever you need, ask me a question, or just let me know your thoughts on this team and what you think. Any NFL fan, truly. Rams fans, whoever it is, want to talk about the game, just let me know, and I'm always here to do that. Please sub up if you enjoy the content, and I will see you guys later. Peace.